Barclaysville, of course, is one of the smaller communities. That line is moving right through Barclaysville right now. Other roads here, we've got NC 55, that's right through Barclaysville, so that's where that system is. North of Coates, really right on top of Coates right now. This is a little bit of good news. Currently, we're taking a look at our radar velocity, and meteorologist Zach Malak drawing a circle around right here. If we're going to see damage from a tornado, we typically see a signature where we have the bright green colors and then bright red colors right beside it. And we're not seeing that right now, at least on this radar view. And that's good news. It doesn't mean that we aren't seeing a dangerous situation right now, but it does appear to be weakening a little bit. About 10 minutes ago, we had these bright green colors right next to the red colors. And again, the green is going toward the radar, the red away from the radar. And that's a sign to us, or a signature on the radar, that we have spin in the atmosphere going on. The interesting thing about tornadoes is, of course, we're looking several hundred to sometimes 1,000+ feet up into the atmosphere. And tornadoes tend to form in the top or the middle of a cloud or a thunderstorm and then drop down to the ground. They don't always drop all the way to the ground. This gives us our best idea of whether or not that's going to happen. So we're seeing some spin in the atmosphere, but does the tornado reach the ground? A lot of times we don't know that unless we have somebody on the ground saying, yes, we see the funnel cloud. Yes, we've seen some damage there. So we don't want anyone to go outside in this area to let us know, but a lot of times we'll see that radar signature. Unfortunately, we're starting to see it weaken a little bit. Also, when you take a look at the rainfall pattern, the one that I showed you up to the north a little while ago where we're seeing it bowing out a little bit, that's a sign that we would see some wind damage. And that bowing echo has begun to retreat a little bit here too, or weaken. So that's good news. North of Coates is where we're seeing the strongest rainfall with this. But again, it does look like we're potentially seeing a little bit of a lesser signature than we did earlier. Lots of heavy rain now east of Anger. Zach, let's go with another storm track here and talk about where this is headed, because even if we're not going to see a tornado that's affecting folks here, we're still having the potential for some wind damage. These storms are moving very fast, up to 30 miles per hour, and producing winds, of course, that could do damage. Just before the Weather Service issued that tornado warning, they had issued a severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour. So a lot of things going on down here. So we're just going to take this entire band of rain, which is where we have the potential for some stronger winds. And you can see that's likely to arrive in Clayton at about 7:57, so close to 8 o'clock. Archer Lodge at about 8:05, Smithfield at 8:15, Pine Level at 8:26, and Micro at about 8:30. But of course, the warning expires at about 8:15. But again, you can see this is an entire line here, a lot of lightning that's south and east of Raleigh. So that's going to be south of Wendell. We're talking about Highway 70, so this is going to be not too far from Garner, the Cleveland community, and of course headed toward Clayton, Wilson's Mill, Smithfield, and Four Oaks. So no matter whether you're in the current path of where the tornado warning is, you still are going to be dealing with some impact from this in eastern Wake County and then into Johnston County. It looks like we have a view of Laura Levine out there on the storm tracker right now. And of course, she's headed down to that area. She's going to be careful not to get in the line of where that tornado could be. But of course, a lot of rain out there on the roads. Again, here's Laura Levine in the storm tracker currently. And you can see she's dealing with some showers out there. So she's on her way down to the scene. We'll take a look again. Of course, the red shaded area, it looks like the Weather Service has just edited the severe thunderstorm warning. Doesn't look like they've changed the tornado warning. I'm going to send it back over to you. Zach, have you seen anything in the chat?
No, I just logged into the chat a moment ago, and they just decided to continue the severe thunderstorm warning. They just changed the length of it. Again, now Lillington is no longer in the severe thunderstorm warning, even though Lillington and even Bowie's Creek and Coates currently in the tornado warning. The circulation now off towards your east as well. If there is circulation within this system, it is now mainly along in the northeast of the Coates area. If we're going to clear that and actually look to see what is going on, we are getting at least some returns in terms of the velocity product of at least 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts in that bright green section. So we are going to watch that pretty closely, as those higher winds is what we're seeing all in all. Again, not for certain whether a tornado is currently on the ground, currently in the reflectivity as well as the velocity, it does not look that certain that there is one. We are seeing some rotation, but there are some pretty high winds, upwards of 58 to 60 miles per hour. So again, when you get into some of those brighter greens, you get some higher wind totals as well. It's why we're currently under a severe thunderstorm warning in Coates, as well as why we're currently under a tornado warning currently. If there is circulation, if there is a tornado, it's moving just east of North Carolina 55 right now. This is the corridor that we will be watching closely. That system is going to be moving off towards the northeast as well at 25 miles per hour. So like we have been doing, we're putting a track on that system. If you live west and southwest of the Coates area, new scan came in. Looks like it messed up the velocity a little bit. We'll go back to the reflectivity value and show you that. We could put a track on that as well, like we've been doing down near Coates, and right now it does look like the system has weakened on that southern side, which is good news. I got to edit that real quick as well. Of course, live TV here, you're trying to figure out different communities. There we go. So when we try and edit that last one more time. Don't you love that, Elizabeth? Sometimes you try and edit that and it all gets one more time. Had it there for a second, you throw it on there, and I'll let you talk about that as well when I put these towns on there. Elizabeth and I are going back and forth on the same computer system to try and make the most out of every type of product we have here at WRAL, because we have a lot in terms of what we could see, what we could do. And we are seeing that, yeah, I keep doing the same thing, Elizabeth. But hey,
No
I'll toss this over to you. You talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll make it for you, and then we'll go from there.
Gotcha. So I'm going to talk about this, but before we get into this, so Zach, a couple of things if you want to think about going to, we could look at the correlation coefficient, which is actually the debris tracker. We can take a look at that. And then also, if you feel comfortable, take a look at the Barron button, because that may show us where we might have some hail with the system. So look at that. In the meantime, let's talk about the storm track. Thanks for putting this up here. Again, just for a recheck, the area shaded in red is a tornado warning. That's in effect until 8:15 for Harnett and Johnston counties. And you can see the track that Zach just put up. So it's moved past Coates now. Coates down here, sort of on the bottom of the screen. And this heavy rainfall with a potential rotation in the bottom of it. So it's going to be sort of just northeast of Coates now, headed toward Hardy Crossroads at about 7:52. McGee's Crossroads, which is an area that I think a lot of folks have heard of, at about 8 o'clock. Willow Springs, of course, at 8:09. And so it continues to move off to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour, a fairly fast moving system. You can take a look there. Looks like we've got our severe threats up right now. And so the purple area, this is the pardon our weather speak, but Barron is our computer system, and they have a lot of exclusive products. So this is our Barron button that shows us what the hail threat is. And we're seeing that just north of Coates and also east of Fuquay-Varina, heading up sort of towards Knightdale. We have the potential for some hail that could be of severe size, which is going to be the size of a quarter. So we have the potential for tornadoes, some strong gusty damaging winds, as well as some hail with this line that's coming through. So thanks for putting that up. And notice as we loop that, it looks like that hail threat is increasing as we get through just the last maybe 10 or 15 minutes. You can see how that it wasn't there and then it sort of pops up there in southeastern Wake County. So hail is a possibility with this as well. We could see hail potentially up to an inch in diameter, which could do some damage. You can see how the National Weather Service edits the warnings, which is a great thing. You know, we can clear you if you're down in Coates. This has moved past you right now. So even though this is a little bit of an interesting loop that you see here, they can really fine tune it so that if you're not in this area, you don't have to get in your safe place. But if you are, you really need to. So this is a look at the wide view again, what's happening across the area. We've been tracking this line of thunderstorms all morning. And as we got closer to about 7:20, 7:25, it started to intensify south of Raleigh, so down here in Harnett County. I want to go back up here into the northeast. We're, of course, looking at some what we call bowing sections, or where the radar is starting to bow a little bit, especially down here just north of Lewisburg. You could see sort of this line right here. Yeah, here we go. As we put this into motion, right here, just west of Enfield, kind of southeast of Warrenton, and then up closer to Roanoke Rapids. You want to in that area. We don't have any warnings in effect there, but when we take a look at the signature, we take a look at where the rainfall is and the shape that it's taking, it will give you some hints that we could be seeing some wind damage in this area. And so we'll see. It's possible that the Weather Service will warn for that. Lots and lots of lightning with that as well. We were just getting into a severe weather season now, so just a reminder, if you can hear thunder, you're in danger of being struck by lightning. So even in this area where we don't have a warning, there's a lot of frequent lightning here. That's headed toward Roanoke Rapids. So you want to be very careful there. If you have kids out at the bus stop, again, it's at 7:50, so people are trying to get to work, trying to get to school, that sort of thing. Be cognizant of that lightning. It can be, just as dangerous as, some severe weather that we may have around the area. Zach, let's go back down and take another look again. We'll kind of do a bit of a reset. So, again, we do have a tornado warning that's in effect until 8:15, and that covers part of Harnett County. And then really the better part of that's starting to move into Johnston County again. So looking at it's actually starting to move out of Harnett County, really on into Johnston County. Zach, if you have a minute, let's throw another storm track on that. We still have a lot of heavy rain on the south end of this, and that's where we'd have the best chance of seeing any wind damage or even tornado. Fortunately, the last few times we've taken a look at the velocity, we have not seen as strong a signature as we did right around 7:30, just before it came through Coates. So here's another look at our storm track, and we're looking at that coming through Willow Springs potentially by the time we get to about 8 o'clock, about 8:10. So be on the lookout there. This is moving at about 25-30 miles per hour off to the north and east. So it's going to cross I-40. Right here is I-40, and you can see I-40 is going to be really just right in the line of this, probably in about the next 10 or 15 minutes. So again, around 8 o'clock, 8:05, it's coming through between Hardy Crossroads and Coates Crossroads down here across parts of Johnston County. Let's see if we've got any other roads that we can pick out here. Here we have Highway 210. So Highway 210 and I-40 is going to be an area where you want to be careful. And again, with the tornado warning, which is still in effect, if you're in this area, you want to make sure that you're getting into your safe place. That's going to be a basement. If you don't have a basement, it's the first floor of your home, which is going to be an interior room that doesn't have windows. So a bathroom or a closet works really well. Zach, have you seen anything else on the chat about any ground truth to this?
No, I haven't, which is some good news that we haven't.
Yes.
And just a minute ago, they did decide to cancel the tornado warning. We're waiting for that to come to our computer system. So that did just pop up, is that the National Weather Service did cancel the tornado warning for Harnett County. Whether they continue that as it moves into Johnston County. So yeah, so they closed off the Harnett County one. Coates no longer, of course, in the tornado warning. We're watching this closely now. It's in the Johnston County. So they continue the tornado warning for Johnston County, but they've canceled that for Harnett County, which is good news.
That's definitely good news. So you take a look here as we go through time, which makes it nice. If the tornado warning is there, you don't have to necessarily stay in your safe place for the entire 45 minutes. Stay tuned. We'll let you know when it's safe for you to move out of your safe place. And of course, all of Harnett County now out of that warning. But here's the area that is in the warning. And so Willow Springs, Coates Crossroads, it's more of we don't have any major communities that are right now in that warning. You can see where that is. So we've got I-40 kind of stretching here just south of the Wake County line, I-40 stretching all the way down through most of western Johnston County is going to be an area that is in that warning right now. So again, in that warning area, looks like did they drop it?
I took that off. I wanted to see what the velocity was.
Just checking. Yeah. So when we take a look at the velocity, it does look like that it's weakened. It's not as strong a signature as what we saw at around 7:30 this morning. So what we're looking at, here's Zacks Mill Road, here's Grace Road and Raleigh Road. You can see that bright green color. And that's where we're seeing the winds moving toward the radar. And then we would see red away from the radar. We're not seeing a whole lot of that. And you can see it's more elongated. If we ended up with a really bright green area area that was more in a circle, we would be seeing a much stronger signature. We do have, here's the rotation detector. There we go. This is an exclusive product to WRAL, and we'll roll through our rotation detector, and this shows us where we'd have the best chance of seeing any rotation. And notice here, there's a tiny bit just west of Spolona and east of I-40 there in Johnston County. Zach, are you able to loop that?
Yeah, I'm going to loop that real quick, and let's see. This is over the last 30 minutes since 7:24, and you can tell when they first issued that warning that there was a decent amount of rotation on the detector, especially south of Lillington, passed directly over 421, and that has since weakened considerably. You could talk over that as well, but you could really tell as this system, and I can even highlight it here and stop it, when it starts in Lillington, almost right around here, and then moves off towards the north, that's when it was at its strongest. And then it has weakened considerably as it moved just east of 55, that's between Andrew and Coates, as well as moved towards the 210 corridor. That's where we're watching it currently, but that is good news that it has weakened substantially since then, and you could also see that in the reflectivity loop as well. One thing to point out, Elizabeth, real quick, 210 and I-40, great barbecue place, Redneck Barbecue Lab, just trying to point out where exactly this storm is. That's where we're currently watching it. So if you know where Redneck Barbecue Lab is, right at the I-40 210 corridor, that's currently where that intersection that we're watching pretty closely. Just a point of reference, since not many people do know the roads currently. It's very hard to pinpoint roads sometimes.
Yeah, that's a really good landmark, because even people who don't live in Johnston County know where that is. So if you're in that area, again, as Zach said, around 210, I-40 near Redneck Barbecue Lab, that's going to be in the western part of Johnston County, and you can see where the rainfall is showing up there on the radar as well. So that's an area you still need to be in your safe place until the National Weather Service drops that tornado warning. That tornado warning is still in effect for about another 15 to 20 minutes. It's good news to see that we're not seeing a strong signature on the radar right now. It doesn't mean that you should necessarily let your guard down. We could still see some wind damage in this area, but when we take a look at, again, that rotation detector, it definitely looked like we had a much better signature when it was back off to the south and west around Coates. We still, of course, have this tornado warning that's in effect, again, for about another 15 minutes. Rotation detector showing a little bit of light rotation there. This brown, like thicker brown line is I-40. And so, again, right along I-40 in this western part of Johnston County is where we could see enough rotation, or at least enough strong wind to have some damage. And that's an area, if you can avoid driving down that area, through that, if you're looking to be headed southward or even northward out of Johnston County, this is such a busy time of day right now. A lot of people traveling into the Triangle area on I-40. You want to be very careful along that line. You want to avoid that. So really anywhere just north of Benson all the way to the Wake County line, you want to be especially careful. Lots and lots of lightning has started to pop up along this cell too, not necessarily where the tornado warning is, but closer to Clayton and Wendell. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, a lot of people out and about, you may be trying to get to walk the dog before you head out the door. You're trying to get the kids out the door to the bus stop. Lightning, no matter where you are, very, very dangerous. Lightning is one of our top weather-related killers across the country and here in North Carolina. So take that lightning really seriously. It's a small part of the area that's under the tornado warning, but there's a much larger population in our area right now that's seeing a lot of frequent lightning. So just be careful. Thanks, Zach, for putting this track on this entire line all the way from eastern Wake County on through Johnston County. So let's talk about some of the timing on this. This line of thunderstorms, this is just to point out, this is not necessarily tracking the tornado warning itself, but just giving you an idea of where you're going to see a lot of this line moving eastward, where we have heavy rain, the potential for some wind damage possibly, and a lot of frequent lightning. So Lizard Lick at about 8:05, Wendell at about 8:06, Archer Lodge at about 8:08, Wilson's Mills at about 8:17. So we're going to continue to be watching this as it continues to move off to the east. And again, we still have that tornado warning in effect. If you're just joining us, let's go over that again. Tornado warning in effect for southwestern Johnston County. You can see the corner here, almost bordering Wake County and then bordering Johnston County to the west. So this is going to be down around the Cleveland community, right up I-40, and that warning is in effect until 8:15. Fortunately, we have not yet had any any ground truth. We don't have any reports of damage here, but of course this warning has been going on for about 30 minutes right now, and so we may not have any of those reports in just yet. The things that we're watching for to have an idea of just how strong this cell is going to be our velocity. We can see the rotation of the storm with this. What we're really looking for a strong tornado signature is an area where we have the bright green color. Green is going toward the radar, which is in eastern Wake County, and red is going away from it. So we will see a circulation happening in an area like that. And we're not seeing nearly the signature that we did when this was down across parts of Harnett County. So that's definitely good news. Okay, so we have Laura Levine, who is in the storm tracker. Very good. Thank you, producers, letting me know. And she's headed toward Andrew right now, which is definitely an area where we've seen a lot of the heavy rain. That keeps Laura out of the path of the tornado, which is farther to the east. So let's go to Laura and talk about what she's not. Okay, Brett Neese is in Anger. And so Brett's parked there, and it looks like you've got a lot of heavy rain. Brett, tell us what you're seeing there in Anger, where we've seen the storm come in.
Hey, Elizabeth. Yeah, we're trying to get some crews down into that Anger area. Right now I'm parked along South Saunders Street, heading towards that area, just south of Raleigh. So I've been in the breaking news tracker all morning long, trying to drive around and look at different spots, particularly in and around Raleigh. I found a few ponding spots that we've noticed. We've seen the one over off US 1 and Cary Parkway. I noticed a few spots on Glenwood Avenue. So this strong storm is really pushing across all of our viewing area and kind of giving us a lot of different effects, a lot of different things that are happening throughout the area, and a lot of things that I've been able to see in the breaking news tracker. But we are heading down towards Anger, both the breaking news tracker and the storm tracker heading in that direction. I believe we have a live picture of the Anger area from our WRAL live cam network, if we can pull that up and see what we're seeing there. But we're going to go down there and check out a number of different spots to see what this storm has left behind as it pushes through. Like you guys have said, it's pushing through rather quickly, so we're going to see what it's left behind on the back end. Driving in the breaking news tracker this morning, right now the rain's starting to pick up here in the South Raleigh area. I was on Capitol Boulevard not 20 minutes ago, and the rain was very heavy. Had the windshield wipers going as fast as they really could go, and we all had to slow down. Some people putting some flashing lights on as well, the hazard lights, so that everybody can see each other as they go through those strong patches of storms. And that was just on Capitol Boulevard, where it's a 40, 45 mile an hour zone. So whenever you're on the highway and you're going even faster with these heavy storms as they roll through I-40 right now, keep that in mind, that you're really going to have to back those speeds down so that you can see where you're going, and that way you can avoid anything going wrong as you make your way to work this morning. If you can avoid it, avoid leaving the house right now and let this storm pass through. Elizabeth and Zach have told us that this is passing through rather quickly, so if you can wait a little bit before you head out to work, that's probably your best option. But I'm going to get behind the wheel here in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker and head back down towards Anger, and I'll report back with what I see. Back to you.
Brett, that sounds great. Thanks for being there and letting us know what you're seeing. You or Laura Levine, it would be safe now, it looks like, to head all the way down to Coates, which looks like where we've had the best signature for a potential tornado. So it would be good to get down there and see if there's been any damage around the Coates area. Again, the storm's moved past there, so it would be safer to go down there and explore. So hopefully we'll have somebody down in Coates shortly to let us know what's going on. The Weather Service just extended the severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to send it over to Zach to talk a little bit more about the timeline for that.
Yeah, Elizabeth, we've been watching this over the last 45 minutes or so now. The tornado warning is set to expire at 8:15. That system currently in southwestern Johnston County, the tornado warning that is. But right now, the storm that was producing that circulation now on the far eastern side of this tornado warning, the National Weather Service did not extend that tornado warning. Instead, they created a new severe thunderstorm warning, which means that they also agree with what we're seeing, that we currently are not seeing any circulation that would be indicative of a tornado on the ground. That is good news. Things are getting better and better in terms of the circulation in that area, but still strong winds likely in Johnston County. between south of Clayton, Wilson's Mills, as well as Smithfield over at least the next hour or so, with that new severe thunderstorm warning set to expire at 9 a.m. Again, we're watching this system as it is moving northeast very quickly. As we loop this into motion, you can really tell where that system is heading. It is moving off towards the northeast, and where we were watching that strongest circulation, it was south of Lillington through Coates, as well as moving just south of Andrew into western and southwestern Johnston County, now moving over I-40. So we're going to be watching this over the next hour or so, but we are sitting here waiting to see if they are going to fully cancel that tornado warning again that's set to expire in the next 10 minutes. I did want to show you a pretty cool feature that we have here. It's a 4-box, and when I set this up, it's going to get a little messy for a second, but once I do so, it'll make a little bit more sense in terms of what we're seeing in terms of the corner. And I stopped this as well, and I also put the towns. You could also see many different sections, and we can also look back and see, Elizabeth, if there was something that was shown that could have been, a tornadic circulation in that area. So earlier, right now we aren't seeing too much. The reflectivity in the top left corner is where we're currently seeing the rain coming down. There's not much circulation in that area as well either, which is good news. In terms of the top right box, that's where we look at our correlation coefficient. Nothing much there, but there is a new bit of a circulation coming together in our rotation tracker that we see in the bottom right corner. So when you look at there, we are seeing some things trying to come together, something trying to spin up. But in terms of the last hour or so, when this was at its strongest point, trying to see if there was any debris popping up, Elizabeth, as well, because I know we wanted to point this out earlier, and we don't see too much in terms of that top right corner box that is indicative of if anything was actually on the ground. We did see that tight circulation, but in terms of what I'm speaking of, you don't see anything there in that top right corner either. That it looks like it looks like it was just a possible circulation. We had the circulation there southeast of Lillington in the bottom right hand corner, as well as the bottom left hand corner. That's that corridor we like to look at for where it could have been. So that's when the system was the strongest, southeast of Lillington heading towards Coates, and that was about an hour ago, or about a half an hour ago, about 7:36 is when we saw that moving through. So that is good news that right now we aren't seeing that, and that we currently are just seeing the one storm in and of itself moving off towards the northeast. Again, right now it looks like the warning is set to expire in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so.
So Zach, let's go back to the radar, the rotation detector, and just do another check on where everything is right now. That was really interesting. I feel like in this particular situation, that's been really the most helpful tool that we have here. Our rotation detector shows us, and of course, Zach was showing us that green area with a little bit of red in the middle of it about 30 or 45 minutes ago. And now there's nothing left of that. And when he was showing us the 4-box, well, yeah, there's nothing. So we have just
elongated.
Yeah, I have a few little patches of it popping up, but in order for it to really be a tornado or some winds that could produce some damage, we'd be looking at it more in a line. It would look a little bit more like a line of thunderstorms, and so we're not seeing that. So that's definitely good news.
The severe threats, again, it's all hail, and there's no rotation.
A little bit of hail.
Too.
So we may be seeing a little bit of hail, that purple as that pops up. And in that pink area, that was really helpful, Zach. I love that you put the 4-box up and sort of went back and showed what happened in the past. When we were looking at a much better signature and the correlation coefficient, that big pink blobby area, if we had seen any debris in the air, it would have shown up as orange in a ball, and we didn't see that, so that's definitely good news. So here's a look at what's happening again across the area. We do still have this line of thunderstorms that we're tracking. We do still have the tornado warning that's in effect until 8:15 for sort of the western corner of Johnston County. Just a really small box, but along this line, we still have the potential for some damaging winds.
You were looking at earlier as well, watching for that, right?
Absolutely. So this is an area that we've looked at really for the last 30 minutes. We keep going back up here into parts of Halifax and Northampton County. This is all in Halifax County. Looking at this, we were watching for these, what we call bowing echoes. When we see the radar shape taking a bow look to it, that means that we have strong winds that are kind of coming out and pushing that precipitation forward, creating what we call a bow echo. And we tend to see some damaging winds there. So the Weather Service just issued this severe thunderstorm warning for Halifax County. Lots of lightning with this. This is moving fast. This is an area where we could see straight line wind damage. The winds could be at 60 miles per hour or stronger. So typically in a situation like this, I mean, a lot of times we can see straight line winds that do the same damage as a tornado. So if you're in this area, you just want to be cautious, be conscious of what's going on out there. We could see some trees down here in northwestern Halifax County as this continues to move eastward. Zach, what if we put a squall line track on this?
That's what I was trying to. I know it's moving northeast, so it's hard to determine what cell to put it on.
Sure.
I think the one producing more lightning right now is probably the one that they have it currently warned for. So it is moving northeast towards Roanoke Rapids. So I know you're currently seeing a lot of this in Roanoke Rapids right now. You're about to see another band of heavy rain and storm activity also move in. So, there we go, Roanoke Rapids. And Elizabeth, you could talk about those towns as well.
Yeah, sure. Weldon is a smaller town right adjacent to Roanoke Rapids, about 829. Seaboard at about 854. So again, this is an area in Halifax County that we've been watching. That's going to stretch on up into Northampton County, right around Roanoke Rapids. Not a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning where we could see damaging straight line winds. And we're seeing a lot of lightning with this as well. We keep popping back to this picture, which I should explain. We have a photographer who is down in Johnston County, and we popped up his view a little while ago. He's close to Clayton, sitting on the side of the road there. US 70 and US 50 split nearby, and it looks like the heaviest rain has moved past that area. So this is John Payne sitting here showing us his camera view. So thanks for being there. It looks like the heaviest rain has moved past that particular spot, which is definitely good news. Zach.
Yeah, right now the good thing is that the tornado warning has now expired in Johnston County. We still see it on our screen, but the National Weather Service here in Raleigh did expire that tornado warning, which is good. They expired about 5 minutes early. The rest of this storm is currently severe warned as it moves into central Johnston County. It has weakened considerably. We are watching still that severe thunderstorm warning off towards the north and east. And of course, we're still going to be watching all of these storms as they continue to move through. But because that tornado warning has expired, we can get back to our newscast, or we could toss it to break. If I could get some information, let's toss it over to Jeff and Micaiah. Jeff and Micaiah, it's been a busy morning so far in the Severe Weather Center. We've been watching this storm the last hour or so. Luckily, they have expired that tornado warning in Johnston County.